Welcome to this explainer. Look, today I'm pulling you aside as a mentor to give you the unapologetic truth about building long-term independence. If you're a young professional just starting out and you feel like traditional money advice just isn't making any sense, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to prioritize actionable habits over academic theory, and we're going to use these concepts to build a rock-solid foundation for your future. So let me ask you something right out of the gate. Do you want to look rich, or do you actually want to be free? Because society is constantly pressuring you to finance this middle-class image just to impress strangers who aren't even paying attention. Keeping up appearances is a total trap. But today, we're going to rewire your brain to stop measuring wealth in dollars and start measuring it in actual, tangible freedom. Section 1, the true cost of time, your life's ultimate currency. Okay, the very first paradigm shift you need to make right now is realizing that time, not money, is your ultimate limited asset. Let's dive into this number, 40. This is going to completely change how you look at every single purchase for the rest of your life. I want you to stop seeing a $1,000 phone as just a price tag. If you make $25 an hour after taxes, that phone isn't $1,000. It's 40 hours of your actual life gone forever. When you start measuring purchases in hours, your brain gets honest real quick. When something costs 40 hours of your life, you suddenly ask yourself if it's really worth a full week of your labor. Usually the answer is no. Now, here's where it gets wild. You have to understand how outside forces are secretly stealing that time you just worked so hard for. Holding your money in cash, sure, it feels incredibly safe because the number in your bank account never goes down. But with inflation quietly chewing up about 3% every single year, cash is actually the riskiest long-term position you can take. If you hold 10 grand in cash, after 10 years it could lose 20 to 30% of its purchasing power. You're literally guaranteeing a loss in the name of safety. It's crazy when you really think about it. Section 2, unlearning bad financial advice, shattering the myths you've been fed. So, now that you actually value your time, we've got to completely unlearn the outdated junk advice you've been sold. We've all heard the classic myth, renting is throwing your money away. But listen, owning a house is not some magical ticket to wealth. Renting buys you flexibility and keeps your cash liquid so you can actually invest it. When you buy, you're taking on property taxes, homeowner's insurance, and massive sudden maintenance costs. When the plumbing explodes at 2 a.m. on a Sunday, your landlord isn't paying for it, you are. It's a super easy way to become house poor and drown in unbudgeted repairs. Next up, let's talk about cars. People love to convince themselves they're investing in a reliable vehicle. Let's be real here. A car is not an investment. It's a depreciating expense. You're bleeding money on an asset that plummets 20 to 30% in value the literal second you drive it off the lot. Call it a tool, call it an expense, but please do not call it an investment. Here's another massive myth for you. You absolutely need a credit card to build a credit score. The finance industry desperately wants you hooked on plastic. But the reality, you can build that shadowy 3-digit score using the bills you're already paying. Services exist right now that report your rent, your utilities, and your phone bills directly to the credit bureaus. You really don't need to risk credit card debt just to prove to a lender you can be a responsible adult. Section 3. Avoiding middle-class wealth traps. Dodging the silent wealth killers. Listen, you could be a high earner right now, but none of that matters if you walk blindly into traps designed to keep you broke at a higher salary. Take lifestyle creep, for example. You get a promotion, so suddenly you move to a nicer apartment, upgrade your car, eat out a bit more. You think you're upgrading your lifestyle, but you're actually just renting your life. True freedom exists solely in the gap between what you earn and what you spend. Lifestyle creep ensures that gap stays at absolute zero. And then there's the brutal math of the minimum payment illusion. Say you have $3,000 in credit card debt, and the minimum payment is just $60. That $60 feels totally manageable, harmless even, but it lets compound interest run in the background. At that rate, it's going to take you over 12 years to pay it off, and it'll cost you nearly $6 grand total. The minimum payment isn't there to help you. It's designed to trap your future income for decades. Now let's see how all these little things build into a massive, invisible leak. Think about the hidden cost of convenience. $7 here for food delivery, $15 there for a subscription you totally forgot about. You're paying a huge convenience tax daily. Those tiny, seemingly harmless choices, they compound to quietly drain $4,000 to $6,000 from your income every single year. Money that could have been buying your freedom is instead buying your minor, fleeting comforts. Section 4, the strategic wealth blueprint, your exact order of operations. All right, we've played a lot of defense. Now it's time to play offense. Do not blindly follow generic advice to just max out your 401k if you're drowning in 20% credit card debt. Why would you earn 7% in the market when you're losing 20% to a bank? Here is your exact mathematical order. Step 1, capture that free employer match at your job. Step 2, ruthlessly kill all high-interest debt. Step 3, build a 3 to 6 month emergency cushion so you never go back into debt. And only then, step 4, maximize your investments. And when you do finally reach step 4, do not let the finance industry convince you that investing is some foreign, complex thing that requires a professional in a suit. With low-cost index funds, you're literally just buying a tiny slice of the entire market. It is brain-dead easy. You don't need to pick individual stocks, and you definitely don't need a financial advisor eating up 1 to 2% of your wealth and fees every year just to manage a retirement account. Section 5. Your Independence Action Plan. Executing your freedom today. Since I'm pulling you aside as your mentor today, I don't want you to just listen to this explainer and nod along. I need you to launch this system today. Right after this ends, you've got 3 immediate tasks. First, calculate what your true hourly wage is after taxes so you know exactly what an hour of your life is worth. Second, start investing with literally just $5 into a fractional share of an index fund. It's not about the amount right now, it's about building the habit. And third, audit your credit card statement and cancel 3 invisible subscriptions you completely forgot about. Going forward, I want you to keep this simple 3-point tracking checklist in your head to protect your savings rates. Ask yourself, am I measuring this new purchase in hours of my life? Is the gap between my earning and my spending actually growing, or am I falling for lifestyle creep? And finally, did I completely ignore my latest windfall? Because wealthy people train themselves to take bonuses or tax refunds and quietly invest them, acting as if that money never even arrived. I really want to burn this quote into your brain. The poor save dollars, the rich save hours. Look, you aren't just trying to be cheap or perfectly frugal. You're trying to be incredibly efficient. The ultimate goal of building wealth is buying back your time, because time is the literal only thing that never ever comes back. When you trade money for time, you're acting exactly like the wealthy do. So I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to really challenge your new mindset. If your income literally doubled tomorrow, would your freedom expand or just your expenses? Are you building a true foundation for long-term independence, or are you just digging a deeper, more expensive hole with a nicer shovel? Think about that as you implement these tools. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.